Have you ever wondered why some women become an obsession, a persistent echo in a man's mind, long after the conversation has ended? It is not about manufactured games or calculated silence. It is not a strategy learned from a book. It is a state of being, an aura of emotional mystery rooted in the deepest chambers of the psyche. This is the woman who has journeyed inward, who has met her own shadow, and in doing so, has become a mirror for the unconscious mind of man. He doesn't see all of her. Instead, he sees a reflection of his own soul's greatest questions. He projects his own unlived potential, his own hidden feminine archetype, what Carl Jung called the anima, onto the canvas she provides. Because she is not rushing to fill every silence with her own anxieties or her desperate need for validation, she leaves space. And in that space, his imagination ignites. He begins to paint his own story onto her, filling the beautiful, maddening voids with his own hopes, his deepest ideals. He is not falling for her, not yet. He is falling for the version of her his soul is creating. This process is magnetic. It is an unconscious pull toward the unknown, the incomplete puzzle that his ego feels compelled to solve. He can't stop thinking about you, not because of what you have shown him, but precisely because of the profound and powerful depth you have yet to reveal. This is not a game of withholding. It is the natural state of a woman who is complete within herself. Her silence is not empty, it is full. It is full of her own thoughts, her own world, her own purpose. She does not look to him to be the architect of her happiness or the source of her worth. She has already built her own temple, her own inner citadel, as the Stoics would say. His attention is a welcome visitor, perhaps, but not the foundation upon which her sanctuary stands. When he senses this, it disrupts his entire framework of attraction. Most of his interactions are transactional. A woman offers validation in exchange for security, or approval in exchange for attention. It is a dance of the ego, a negotiation between two incomplete selves. But the woman of emotional mystery does not participate in this negotiation. She operates from a place of wholeness. Her presence suggests a different kind of reality, one where her emotional state is not for sale, not contingent on his approval. This creates a powerful challenge to his ego. He cannot easily categorize her or control the narrative. Who is this woman who does not seem to need his validation to feel alive? The question itself becomes a splinter in his mind. He must return to it, again and again, trying to understand the source of her self-possessed power. This power emanates from a deep understanding of the shadow self. Jung taught that the shadow contains all the parts of ourselves we have repressed or denied: our anger, our ambition, our flaws, our untamed desires. The average person spends their life running from this shadow, projecting it onto others, or pretending it doesn't exist. This creates a constant, low-level anxiety, a need to be good or perfect to earn love and acceptance. This neediness is transparent. It leaks from every pore, from the way a text is answered too quickly to the way a compliment is desperately sought. The woman of emotional mystery, however, has done her shadow work. She has turned to face the darkness within and has integrated it. She knows she is not just light, she is also shadow. She accepts her own capacity for anger, her own ambition, her own flaws. Because she accepts these things in herself, she is not afraid of them in him. She does not need him to be a flawless hero. She does not need to project a fantasy of perfection onto him. This groundedness, this radical self-acceptance, is profoundly unsettling and deeply attractive. He senses a woman who is not playing a role. He senses a woman who is real, whole, and unafraid of the messy, beautiful truth of human nature. Do you see how this changes the entire dynamic? Your goal is not to be mysterious, it is to be whole. The mystery is simply a byproduct of your individuation journey. Individuation is Jung's term for the process of becoming a psychologically complete and undivided individual. It is the journey of discovering and embracing all parts of yourself, light and shadow, to become the person you were always meant to be. A woman on this path has a center of gravity that is located deep within her own soul. Her life has a narrative, a purpose that existed long before he arrived and will continue long after he is gone, should he choose to leave. He is not the main character in her story. He is invited to be a part of it, a significant part perhaps, but the story is fundamentally hers. This is the antithesis of the woman whose entire emotional world revolves around a man, whose moods rise and fall with the frequency of his texts, whose self-worth is a reflection in his eyes. He can feel that dependency. It feels heavy. It feels like a responsibility. In contrast, the individuated woman feels like freedom. She feels like an adventure, a world to be discovered rather than a problem to be solved or a void to be filled. His mind clings to her because she represents not just a person, but a potential for his own growth, his own journey toward wholeness. He becomes engaged in a process of psychological projection. When he looks at her, he is not just seeing a woman, he is seeing a screen upon which his own unconscious content is played out. The less she defines herself for him, the more he projects his anima, that inner figure of the eternal feminine. This anima holds all the qualities he has unconsciously cultivated in his own soul, perhaps wisdom, perhaps wildness, perhaps a serene strength. He sees glimpses of these qualities in her, and his mind magnifies them. He is essentially falling in love with a missing part of himself, a part he sees embodied in her. This is why the obsession feels so powerful, so fated. It is not just about her physical beauty or her personality. It is a soul-level recognition, a deep, psychic resonance. You, in your wholeness, become the catalyst for his own self-discovery. He has to keep thinking about you because you are the key to a door in his own mind that he never knew was locked. The desire to figure you out is actually the desire to understand himself. The mystery you present is a sacred puzzle, and the pieces are scattered throughout his own unconscious. He cannot walk away from it easily, for to do so would be to walk away from a part of his own soul. This dynamic is amplified by the principles of Stoic philosophy. Consider Seneca's teachings on the inner world. True happiness is to enjoy the present, without anxious dependence upon the future. The woman who embodies this principle is a fortress of tranquility. She does not live in the anxious space of, what if he doesn't call, or what does this mean? She is grounded in the here and now, in her own life, her own purpose. Her emotional state is not a ship tossed on the waves of his attention or neglect. It is anchored. This creates a subtle but powerful energetic signature. He can feel that she is not easily disturbed. He can sense her apatheia, not a cold indifference, but a state of serene equanimity. This is incredibly rare. Most people are in a constant state of reaction, their emotions hijacked by external events and the approval of others. Her calmness is a stark contrast. It suggests a source of peace that is internal, not external. It makes him question the very foundation of his own emotional life. Why is he so easily rattled? Why does he need so much external validation? Her steady presence forces him into a state of self-reflection. He is drawn to her peace like a man dying of thirst is drawn to water. He believes that if he can just get closer to her, he can possess some of that unshakable calm for himself. Think of the archetype of the high priestess. She holds the scrolls of wisdom but does not read them aloud to just anyone. Her knowledge is deep, her intuition sharp. She is a guardian of the mysteries. She sits between the pillars of darkness and light, signifying her integration of the shadow. She does not chase. She does not preach. She simply is. Her power lies in her stillness, in her connection to a source beyond the immediate, material world. When a woman embodies this archetype, she becomes a psychic magnet. She doesn't need to perform or prove her worth. Her worth is self-evident in her composure, in the thoughtful way she speaks, in the passions she pursues for her own fulfillment. Men, who often operate in the external world of logic, action, and achievement, the world of the logos, are unconsciously drawn to this embodiment of the inner world of intuition, being, and mystery, the world of Eros. She represents the other half of the whole. He may not have the language for it. He might just say there's something about her, but what he is really sensing is the archetypal power of the sacred feminine, a force that promises depth, meaning, and a connection to the soul. You trigger this archetypal recognition when you stop explaining yourself and start embodying your own truth. The journey to this state often involves healing the primal wound of unworthiness. So many women carry a deep-seated belief that they are not enough on their own. This trauma, often originating in childhood, creates a relentless drive for external validation. It manifests as the need to please, to be the cool girl, to contort oneself into a shape that might be loved. You become a chameleon, hoping that if you find the right colors, you will finally be safe, you will finally be chosen. But this is a cage of your own making. The man you seek to attract can feel the bars of this cage. He senses the performance. The woman of emotional mystery has undertaken the painful but liberating work of healing this wound. She has learned to reparent herself. She has learned to give herself the validation she once craved from others. She has faced the terrifying abyss of her own aloneness and discovered not a void, but a universe. Her self-worth is non-negotiable. It is not on the table for discussion. It does not rise with his praise or fall with his criticism. This is the source of her emotional independence. He can't stop thinking about her because she is not a reflection of him. She is her own source of light. He cannot control her with his approval because she has already approved of herself. This self-approval is a form of radical courage. It is the courage to be disliked, to be misunderstood. Most people are terrified of this. They will sand down their edges, soften their opinions, and dilute their personalities to be more palatable to the crowd. This creates a world of pleasing, agreeable ghosts. The woman who has integrated her shadow and healed her wounds is not afraid to have sharp edges. She is not afraid of her own intensity, her own unique perspective. She speaks her truth, not with aggression, but with a quiet, unshakable certainty. She does not seek consensus. This is deeply challenging to the male ego, which is often accustomed to being the final arbiter of truth or opinion in a dynamic. Her willingness to stand alone, to hold her own frame without apology, signals immense internal strength. He may disagree with her. He may even be angered by her. But he will respect her. And his mind will return to her, replaying her words, grappling with her perspective. She becomes a mental sparring partner, a challenge, an equal. The woman who is afraid of being too much will always make herself small. The woman who embraces all of herself, even the parts that might be inconvenient for others, becomes unforgettable. She is not a gentle stream he can easily divert, she is a river carving its own path through stone. This path is her logos, her unique purpose and reason for being. This is a concept borrowed from both Stoicism and Jungian thought. It is the underlying order and meaning of your life. For many, this logos becomes entangled with and defined by romantic relationships. But for the woman on the path of individuation, her logos is her own. It could be her art, her career, her spiritual practice, her commitment to a cause. It is the central pillar of her existence. It is what she thinks about when she wakes up in the morning. It is the work of her soul. A man who enters her life can immediately sense that he is not the pillar. He is a beautiful addition to the temple, but he is not the foundation. This reality is both intimidating and intoxicating. It means he must earn his place in her life, not through grand gestures or material offerings, but by proving he is a worthy companion on her journey. It also relieves him of the immense pressure of being her sole source of happiness. He is free to be her partner, not her savior. This dynamic, where two whole individuals walk their own paths side by side, is the hallmark of a conscious relationship. He can't stop thinking about you because you inspire him to find his own logos, his own purpose. You represent a life of meaning, and he craves that meaning for himself. Consider the power of negative capability, a term coined by the poet John Keats. It is the capacity to be in uncertainties, mysteries, and doubts without any irritable reaching after fact and reason. A woman who possesses this quality is comfortable with the unknown. She does not need immediate answers or constant reassurance. She can sit in the discomfort of an unresolved situation with a deep, abiding trust in herself and in the unfolding of life. When you send a message into the world, or to a man, you do not anxiously wait by the phone for a reply. You release it. You return your focus to your own life, your own logos. This is not a technique, it is a philosophy. It demonstrates a profound faith in your own value. The message you are sending is, my peace is not contingent on your response. My world continues to turn. This creates a vacuum. His ego expects a certain pattern, question and answer, action and reaction. When you disrupt this pattern by not reacting, by not needing an immediate resolution, his mind rushes in to fill the space. Why isn't she anxious? What is she thinking? This lack of irritable reaching on your part triggers it in him. He starts reaching for you, trying to close the loop you were so comfortable leaving open. Her tranquility in the face of uncertainty becomes the very thing that makes him uncertain, and thus, obsessed. This state of being is a direct rejection of the modern culture of instant gratification and constant connection. We are conditioned to believe that intimacy is built through perpetual contact, through sharing every thought and feeling the moment it arises. But this often leads to a premature collapse of romantic tension. There is no space for longing, no room for imagination. It is like reading the last page of a novel first. The woman of emotional mystery understands, intuitively or consciously, the sacredness of space. She values her own solitude. It is in solitude that she connects with herself, that she hears her own soul. Her time alone is not a lonely void to be filled, it is a rich, fertile ground for her own growth. Therefore, she does not give her time and attention away cheaply. It is a precious resource. When a man senses that her time and focus are earned, not freely given, their value skyrockets. He begins to see time with her as a privilege, not an expectation. He finds himself competing not with other men, but with her own rich inner world, her passions, her work, her solitude. This is a competition he is not accustomed to, and one he is deeply intrigued by. He wants to become a part of that world she guards so carefully, the world she so clearly values as much, if not more, than the attention of any man. This connects to the Jungian concept of the pure eternus, the eternal boy archetype in the male psyche. This is the part of a man that resists commitment, responsibility, and the perceived limitations of a mundane life. He craves adventure, freedom, and endless possibility. Many women try to combat this archetype by trying to domesticate him, to pin him down with expectations and demands for security. This inevitably triggers his desire to flee. The woman of emotional mystery, however, engages the pure eternus in a completely different way. She does not try to cage him, because she herself is free. Her own life is an adventure. Her own path is full of unpredictable turns. She embodies the very freedom that his soul craves. She does not represent the end of his adventure, but the beginning of a new, more profound one. He sees in her a partner who will not suffocate his spirit, but will challenge it to grow. She is not the safe harbor where his ship of dreams goes to rest, she is the open sea, calling him toward a greater horizon. He can't stop thinking about her because she doesn't threaten his freedom, she mirrors it and elevates it. She is the ultimate adventure for his soul. This is the power of a woman who has cultivated what the Stoics called an inner citadel. Marcus Aurelius wrote of retreating into this inner fortress where the soul could find peace, regardless of the chaos raging outside. Your inner citadel is built from self-knowledge, emotional resilience, and a firm connection to your values. It is a place within you that cannot be touched by external opinion, by his approval or disapproval, by his presence or his absence. Do you have such a place? Or is your inner world constantly invaded and conquered by the whims of others? When you have this citadel, you do not react with panic when he pulls away. You do not crumble when faced with uncertainty. Instead, you retreat to your center. You observe the situation from a place of strength and clarity, not from a place of fear and desperation. He can feel this. He can throw his emotional storms against your walls, and he will find that they do not break. He can test your boundaries, and he will find that they are made of stone, not sand. This unshakable quality is what he truly craves. In a world of chaos, he is unconsciously seeking a center that will hold. Your inner stability makes you that center, a point of profound and magnetic stillness in his turbulent world. This stillness is not passivity. It is a form of immense power. It is the calm at the eye of a hurricane. The woman who embodies this is not waiting for life to happen to her, she is a conscious participant in her own destiny. She understands the difference between what she can control and what she cannot, a cornerstone of Stoic thought. She cannot control his feelings, his actions, or his choices. She does not waste her precious energy trying to manipulate or manage him. Instead, she focuses all her energy on what she can control, her own responses, her own integrity, her own peace of mind. This is the essence of emotional freedom. When you truly grasp this, the games of attraction become obsolete. You no longer worry about saying the right thing or making the right move. You simply act from your center, from your authentic self. If he responds, it is because he is drawn to your authentic energy. If he does not, it does not diminish you. His behavior is simply data. It reveals information about him, his level of consciousness, and his readiness for a deep connection. It has no bearing on your intrinsic worth. This detachment is not cold, it is wise. It is the wisdom that keeps her mind clear and her heart safe, and it is this very wisdom that he finds himself unable to forget. This wisdom allows her to see his behavior not as a personal judgment, but as a projection. When a man is inconsistent, when he pursues and then retreats, it is often a reflection of his own inner conflict. He is grappling with his own fears of intimacy, his own pure eternus desire for freedom, his own unhealed wounds. The woman operating from her ego takes this personally. She asks, "What did I do wrong? How can I fix this?" Her entire focus is on regaining his approval. The woman operating from her individuated self asks a different set of questions. What does this behavior reveal about him? Is this a man who has the capacity for the kind of relationship I desire? She depersonalizes his actions. She sees them as a reflection of his own inner world, not a verdict on her worth. This ability to observe without internalizing is a superpower. It allows you to remain compassionate but detached. You can see his struggle without becoming a casualty of it. He senses this. He senses that you see him, truly see him, flaws and all, and are not shattered by his inconsistency. You are not a damsel waiting to be rescued, nor are you a therapist waiting to fix him. You are a sovereign queen observing the events in her kingdom, and this calm, discerning gaze is one he finds himself wanting to earn, to be worthy of. She becomes a void that he feels compelled to fill with meaning. Her lack of immediate, effusive reaction creates a question mark. In a world where everyone is broadcasting their every emotion, her quiet containment is a radical act. It forces him out of his passive, receptive mode and into an active, searching one. He has to lean in. He has to wonder. He has to work to earn her emotional response. The validation, when it comes, is therefore 100 times more potent because it is not given freely to just anyone. It is earned. Think of the difference between a rushing river and a deep, still well. The river is obvious, its power on full display. The well is a mystery. Its depth is unknown. To get its water, you must make an effort. You must lower a bucket. The water from the well is always more precious. When you become the well, you are inviting him to discover his own capacity for depth, his own willingness to do the work required for a real connection. You are not playing hard to get, you are embodying the principle that anything of true value requires effort. He can't stop thinking about you because you represent a prize worth striving for, the promise of a cool, deep water that can quench a thirst he barely knew he had. Ultimately, this journey is not about him. It was never about him. His obsession, his relentless thoughts, his pursuit, they are all secondary effects of a primary cause. The primary cause is your commitment to your own soul, your own individuation. It is the sacred work of building your inner citadel, of integrating your shadow, of finding your logos, of healing your wounds. It is the path of becoming a woman who finds her validation in the mirror, not in a text message. A woman who finds her security in her own resilience, not in a man's promises. A woman who is so deeply in love with her own life that a partner is a beautiful, cherished addition, but not a necessity for completion. This is the final and most profound paradox. The moment you truly, deeply, and completely let go of needing him is the moment he will feel an irreversible pull toward you. He is drawn to the energy of a woman who is already whole. He is not filling a void in you, he is hoping you will fill a void in him. But you know that is not your job. Your only job is to continue your own sacred evolution. This evolution culminates in a state of serene detachment. It is the peace that comes from knowing that you are enough, that your life is your own masterpiece. The opinions of others, the attention of a man, the validation of society, they are like clouds passing in the sky. You can observe them, you can even appreciate their beauty, but you know that you are the sky, not the clouds. You are the vast, unchanging awareness in which all things arise and pass away. This is the rebirth. It is the shedding of the old skin of neediness and fear. It is stepping into a sovereignty so complete that the question of why he can't stop thinking about you becomes irrelevant. The more important question becomes, is he worthy of thinking about? You are no longer the object of his story, hoping to be chosen. You are the author of your own. His presence is a chapter you may choose to write, but you hold the pen. The power has returned to its rightful place, within you. This is the ultimate freedom, the unshakable peace that comes from a life lived from the inside out. The woman who knows her worth doesn't chase, she chooses.